right, gang. Welcome to Tech Tuesday. So I have a special guest here, Eric Bruce. So if you don't know him, I'm going to give him a second to introduce himself. So Eric, why don't you say hi and give everyone a little introduction slash maybe little resume of what you've been doing around RingLogix?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am tier two. More or less, have been in the industry for 33 years now, uh, and enjoy helping you guys out with making things easier.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
hmm
Yeah, and Eric's being too kind to himself. He's like kind of at least our sales go-to for pretty much everything we ask. We have when we have weird questions, we tend to take them right to Eric. So I'm happy to have him here assisting me because today we're going to talk about SNAPbuilder. And I'm SNAPbuilder Lite, but Eric's the expert, which is why I asked him to join me today. So what we're going to talk about today is, why did we decide to do SNAPbuilder? I'm going to give you a quick intro into SNAPbuilder. I've got some slides on how to access this. I've got some screenshots of the actual interface. We're going to talk about button configuration and templates, but most of the time, I'm probably going to veer away from this presentation and just let Eric share his screen, but you will get the presentation in your follow-up kit. Just know too, Gabriella, our marketing fave, is out on maternity leave. So if there's a slight delay on your follow-up package, it's because we have some new people and some consultants filling in for. So there, it's a little slower than normal to get your follow-up package, but it will be coming to you. Okay. So, why do we want you to know how to use SNAPbuilder? Well, the first big reason is just reducing your deployment time. We want to help you accelerate turnups and being able to scale, and then simplify your programming, right, on your devices. So a lot of times when I train new partners that have joined us and I go into SNAPbuilder and show them this, they're like totally wowed by it. And once again, I know how to do the basic, but I know there's some more complex things that Eric's going to show you that you can do with SNAPbuilder. But it's typically one of those tools that's like, wow, but I'm not sure that everybody knows exactly the power of it and how to use it. So that's why we're doing this today. Now, intro to SNAPbuilder. If you've never seen it, I've got a cool little screenshot in the corner over here for you of what it looks like. And, just what it is, right? So it's a tool. It's embedded in your PBX dashboard that's basically used to configure your physical devices, but it's within your portal. So what SNAPbuilder does, it allows you to customize buttons on devices. There are specific ones that are compatible with SNAPbuilder, but thankfully they're a lot of the most popular ones. But it lets you customize buttons. You can deploy templates. You can, apply those templates in bulk. You can build phone directories. And once again, it's directly from the user portal. So you can kind of sit in your lab or your office and you can do this right from your tush. So how you access SNAPbuilder, there's two ways, right? So I've kind of got them here. And then I've got a little screenshot of the two ways that you can access this. I think this is the point though where I'm going to let Eric get into this because basically he's going to show you how to launch it, how to get into it, how to play around with it. The rest of the presentation is more just follow up, like if you missed it. So it tells you an overview of the interface. I've got some cool screenshots and, what all the different buttons do. So the rest of this presentation though, if you want to share this with your team, we have like just this config screenshots, how to configure the different the buttons. And I thought it was pretty cool. I found a just description if you guys are ever interested in, knowing what everything means. So if you're new to this and you're like, oh, I don't even know what that is, we got a little glossary there. Let's see, did I get
I think
Eric
that
back?
the BLF does more than that, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
It'll transfer calls to and
The BLF button?
hmm
You mean like when you get a call and then you want to
Uh,
transfer it on the device?
yeah, doesn't it work as a transfer button too?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
send the call that you're on to that button. Yes.
Mm,
Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know.
Well, Ben, you have to know what you're talking about before I answer your question.
I think I used it. It's similar to a monitor extension button. Well, that was on the Mitel system. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
kind of rather than just programming it as a transfer, we just started using the VLF for the kind of the everything button.
Oh, gotcha. Could be an everything button. Oh, sorry. I went a
So,
little fast there.
so I've messed with the SNAPbuilder quite a bit. I've got some kind of default configs that I put in there, especially like for paging, the multicast
Yeah.
paging addresses. That way they're already in there if a customer decides they want to use them. But because you can't really use this for bulk after the initial install, because they'll go in there and make changes to their buttons or whatnot. If you fire off anything after that, it'll just take all that out. But
You mean once you apply the override? Are you using like the overrides? Well, Eric would be better when he gets back to answer that question. But
sure.
yeah, so when you're talking about, so you've already applied the template and like the customer goes in and tries to make like changes on their device?
Well, yeah, if they go in and program their own customizable buttons, you can't really use the bulk edit after the install.
No, but you can
It's just kind of
one
there
thing
for
I
the
didn't
beginning of
realize
the
because it's
install.
grayed out. You know you can lock their buttons though, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either actually until I was putting this together because I personally don't use this tool a ton in my role. But one thing this button, like when you set it button, if you don't want the customer to do that, once you've applied it, you can lock it.
I do
Here,
have
let's see.
one question. Do we typically need to leave that second line unassigned? Do they need that? I mean, they'll need that to answer a secondary call, right?
Well, you would make it a second line appearance would be the best practice to do.
Okay,
Would be to if they want like I have two on mine, so like my line one and line two are my extension, so that way if
Mhm.
I have another inbound call coming in and I can just grab it right from there,
Sure. Okay.
if that's how they do business for sure. Let me see if Eric's messaging me if he can get
So
back
am I
in.
the only person that signed up for Tech Tuesday?
No, there's like 20 of you guys on there.
Oh,
You're
okay.
just not being a shy violet. No, there you got I got like 20 of you guys on here. Eric, did I get you back yet? I can't see you in there. Well, worst case scenario, if Eric can't share his screen, I'll share and let him boss me around a little bit. But yeah, but you'll get this presentation at the end of this, just with some how-tos and some tips and tricks. And then if you've never noticed, there's also a little video that you can watch. So if you have new employees or anybody, there's a user manual. I can even get you NetSapiens has a guide. It's just that some of the things that are because it's a little older, NetSapiens hasn't updated it. Some of the things have been removed with some of the different updates. So, all right, let's see. Oh, I'm here. You guys, you just can't hear me. Well, why can't I hear you, Eric? Let me go find Eric. There you are. Okay. Promote to panelist. All right. Eric, I promoted you to panelist. Can you hear me now? Eric? Oh, yeah, I love technology. Eric? You're muted.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. Can you share
Oh,
your screen now?
I
There
mean,
we
it's
go.
like an act of Congress. Let's see. No,
Oh, Eric, you're declining to be promoted to a panelist. I'm upgrading you, and it says Eric Bruce declined to be promoted to a panelist.
Oh, can you do it again? I didn't get any type of notification.
Yeah, there you go.
Join his panel.
There you go. You good now?
Yes, that looks a lot better.
Yeah, because they were getting sick of me while we were gone. So while you were gone.
Okay. So let me know when you can see my screen.
We can, and it's your Zoom. So yep.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
All right, so SNAPbuilder. So the way to get to it, and there's several different ways to actually get to SNAPbuilder, but the easiest way is by clicking Inventory, click Phone Hardware, and you'll see your button pop up here. Now, you can do it with the drop down. You can manage configuration templates or manage device profiles. But if you click this, it's more or less the same thing. You can also edit SNAPbuilder for a specific device or extension. For example, 215 is mine. And I'm at home, so I'm on the T58A. So if I chose that and click Start, it'll show you what I specifically have on my phone. And you can modify it however you see fit. If we go back, you can also choose to edit a specific device profile. And we have, or luckily, RingLogix has put them all in here for you. So if I wanted to, for example, modify the default T54, I could just scroll down to it, find it, and click Start. And now I can modify however I want that default template to look like. Now, there is an important piece to remember about this. So when you go to phone hardware and you think, well, I want to modify this guy, and you copy the MAC address. If you click on SNAPbuilder, in here you can modify by the extension, or you can put the MAC. If I put the MAC in there, it doesn't allow me to click Start. That's because I copied it. So if I just remove one of the letters and put in the E, you see how the Start, it's clickable at that point. So that's just something to bear in mind. That's kind of a little nuisance to SNAPbuilder, but nonetheless, let's go through some of the things you can do with SNAPbuilder. Now, another way to get to it is I could just go to my extension, which is right here, click it, click Phones, and then I can go to my T58, which is the phone I'm using now, and click SNAPbuilder right here. Okay, so currently you're seeing everything that I have programmed on my phone, which is mostly BLFs. However, I took a couple and changed them so that we can get a good idea of how they work. If we look at the drop down when you're choosing a button, for example, I'm programming button 13, and it shows you on the visual display, what button is that? Mine's a touch LCD, so I don't have physical buttons. I just touch the screen, but that button resides right here. So it lets you know exactly where you're programming, and you have several different actions that you could choose for that specific button. Line appearance, shared line appearance, BLF, call park, speed dial, DTMF, queue toggle, and time toggle. So let's go through a couple of them. Obviously, line appearance is going to be something that you have at the top. This is a line appearance. When you choose that, you're not going to choose it for anyone else. You're going to leave it alone, just as it sits right here. Of course, I wouldn't choose it on line 13. I would choose it up here. So I would just simply choose line appearance, and then I would do a save and resync. And it automatically associates that line appearance to me because it knows it's my MAC address. Anyways, regardless, if we went to the next one, BLF, and I heard a question going on about BLFs. So BLFs actually work in 3 different ways. It gives you status of a user. Generally, if it's red, that means they're on a call. If it's green, they're available. It also acts as a direct dial. So if I reach down and touch the BLF, it's going to call that individual. Does that make sense? You can also use a transfer and then touch the BLF to transfer a call.
There you go, Ben Franklin.
I knew it.
Okay. So there's
Ben asked that question while you were gone, Eric. And
yeah, I
wasn't 100% sure, but
yeah, there's 3 different methods or uses for BLF. I kind of caught on to that question at a late period there. So anyways, let's choose something else besides BLF, Call Park. Call Park, I'm sure everyone has programmed a million of those, but you choose Call Park. Of course, you have to build your call parks. And here's the ones that are built for our domain. So if I picked 713, I could label it, whatever I need to. Park 1, for example. And then save and resync. Now, another thing, first line user has been changed. Yeah, I know. I've already changed it. Another thing to bear in mind is that you always kind of want to build all of your queues, your call park queues, before you can assign them. You can't assign something that's not built as of yet, which makes sense. Okay, speed dial. Speed dial is just simply a number that you want to dial out to. It's going to kick back a no matches found. Just ignore that. It's a number that it doesn't know. You're sending it to wherever your cell phone. And you can label it whatever you want. Okay, so if we move past speed dial, DTMF. Now, DTMF is something, for example, that injects DTMF tones on an ongoing call. For example, if I were to call into my main line and it hits the auto attendant, I know at some point it is going to say, if you know your party's extension, you can dial it now. And for example, I wanted to call Frank. I could set the DTMF as Frank's extension. Let's call it 213.
just use me, or use me, Eric. I'm in there.
Okay, well, you're 229, yes?
Yep.
Ah. So now she said as the DTMF tone. So now when I call into the auto attendant and they say, if you want to dial or if you know your party's extension, at that point, I can just hit that button or that DTMF and it calls immediately. There is no delay. It doesn't have to check for who's available. It sends the call immediately. This can also be used for dialing star codes. Remember, DTMF only works on a connected call, though. So it's not like I could reach down on a phone that's hung up and idle and just hit the DTMF button. That doesn't work. You have to be on an active call and then you use the DTMF feature. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I don't think everybody else is being shy, but yep.
Okay, so let's talk about queue toggle. So queue toggle, let's cancel this. Okay, so a queue toggle, basically what this button does is it will take you out of any queue that you currently belong to. For example, let's look at one of our queues, software billing, support main. Am I in that one? Yes.
Yep.
So you can see I'm in there right now, but if I hit the toggle, I don't know if you guys heard it, but it said you're now unavailable. When I
No, but a little
it,
box popped up at the bottom too. That's it looked like that from your phone, that like your web phone. So that was cool.
It'll also give you that visual indication. So I'm going to log back in.
Yep, and then it popped up again on the.
You are now available.
Oh yeah, we heard it that time.
Again. Okay, good. So that's what logging in and out of the queue is for. And let me show you how it's programmed. There is absolutely nothing on it right now. That's because queue toggle means it is going to use a feature code. Star 11 logs you out of all queues that you're entered in, and star 12 logs you out of any queues that you belong to. So there's an in and out. This is just a simple toggle. You can label it whatever you want. Any questions on that?
No, anybody have any questions? That's pretty cool. I didn't really understand exactly how that works, so that was really cool.
Okay. All right, let's see what's next. Time frame toggle. Okay, good. Users 215. So if you look at my answering rules, I have 2 time frames, a business hours and default. During business hours, I'm saying, hey, forward all my calls over to Lenny. The best thing I ever did. And during the default or anything that does not match on business hours, ring all of my extensions and all of my devices associated with my extension. So if you notice, business hours says active. Now I'm going to toggle that. Hold on one second here. There it is.
Time frame is deactivated.
So I don't know if you guys heard that, but
yeah,
it says
we
time
heard
frame.
It, yep.
Okay, so if I refresh this page, watch what happens to active. It disables it and it goes to the second time frame, the default, meaning ring all of my extensions. And let me hit it one more time.
Time frame is activated.
And now I've reactivated. And now it's active again.
Quick question on that.
Sure.
Does that always toggle between the active time frame and the default time frame? Or let's say I had 4 time frames there, is it just going to toggle through each one?
No, it'll only toggle between 2.
Okay, so to use this, you can only have 2 time frames.
More or less, yes. So if you look at it, business hours is where the toggle resides. So if I look at, let's go back to it, 215. T58. So notice that it asked me, okay, what are we looking to toggle? Business hours is what I put in. So, and let me see if I can show you what it looks like. See how it has business hours and default? It's just between those two. Now, realistically, there's only 2 time frames on your specific user. So I'm saying, hey, I want you to enable or disable business hours, and then whatever time frame you see secondary, go to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, you can label it. All right. So Q toggle DTMF, speed dial, call park, users. I think we covered everything with the exception of shared line appearance. If you guys look in the chat, you should see a link for shared call appearance. Now, realistically, I haven't set that up. Basically what it is, and it's well explained within that document. We don't use shared line appearance here because everything rings to a queue here, so everyone rings at the same time. There is no specific person that has calls driven directly to them. If there was, I could create a shared line appearance and ring alongside them. So if the boss, for example, had a private DID that rang to his phone, I could set that up so it could also ring on the receptionist phone at the same exact time. And if you read through that document that I shared in the chat there, it's very simplistic in doing that. What you would do is if the boss is extension 100, you would create a secondary extension 100A. However, there's no phone associated with it, but you're going to set it up as a shared line appearance. Now, on your phone, you would add a shared line appearance, and here I would put 100A, which I haven't created, so you're not going to see a match. Now, all you do on extension 100 is tell it to sim ring all devices. So when 100 is called, I want you to ring 100, 100A, 100 WP for web phone, 100M for mobile, whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is it needs to include 100A. So now when 100 rings, line 16 as a shared line appearance will also ring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay, good.
And guys,
Good.
I took that article that Eric shared with you and I put it in the presentation. So if you don't click the link and save it, it'll be in your follow-up presentation too. So thanks, Eric.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that you guys should know is that generally speaking, you can do a save and resync. Yay links are kind of the sweethearts of the VoIP industry. This will send the config, the phone doesn't have to reboot, and everything is happy. You'll see the buttons popped up that you programmed, so on and so forth. This is not the case with all devices. For example, Polycom. Polycom won't respect the fact that it doesn't have to reboot. It reboots by default. So it does take a couple of minutes when you make changes to, for example, a Polycom, because it's going to do a reboot, where Yealink simply syncs the configuration change and it's almost instant. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So now that I've modified, several buttons on this, I can actually save as a new template. And I can label it whatever I want, T58, new, save. So now that that template is saved, I could go to my templates, T58 new, and let's just say, for example, this was a secondary T58. I don't want to change it for anyone on this domain because they'll probably kill me. But if this was a brand new phone, I could just simply choose apply new template, and lo and behold, all my buttons would show up.
And Eric, it's smart enough, right, that it would take the line appearance though and make it that user's line appearance, not yours, right?
That is correct. So the line appearance is always going to be missing information. Anytime, let me go back to that user. Anytime you're adding a line appearance, you only add the fact that it is a line appearance. So if I went to 215G, and here at the top, I would simply choose line appearance, and this, as well as this, would be completely blank. That's fine, because when you save and resync, it will realize, oh, hey, that line appearance you're trying to add belongs to 215G, and it will automatically populate the information.
Awesome.
Now, another thing to realize here is directory. So you have several different directories that you can choose. You can choose favorites, my contacts, my coworkers, or you can also choose by departments. So if I chose all contacts, and mind you, this is all relative to information that is within the portal. It doesn't go beyond that, meaning it's not going to poll or pull information from NS. So this shows you who it's going to show. And if you decide, well, hey, I don't want to see Albert, I can just click the eyeball and remove him. And it will only load these.
Very cool.
Okay. Favorites would be something that you created, and I beg your pardon. I have someone knocking at the door. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, I apologize about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's see. Done. So that is directory. Now, let's see, favorites. Overrides is another thing that you can include within a template. So that is found here. So if we look at templates, we already have the T58G applied. If we go to additional phone settings, this is where you can push or put overrides that will actually push to each phone that you apply this template to. One of those, let me see, I posted it in chat, which I no longer see. Jamie, can you
Which one?
the firmware URL?
Yeah, it's in there. I can see it.
Okay. All right.
Do
So
you need that?
No, not at all. But that is an example of an override that I could place right here. And then I can save it. And now when that template is pushed out to that applicable model, it will use that firmware URL to upgrade that phone. And please don't use that URL. It's not something you want to do. That is only for fixing issues rather than, just free use.
But there's
But
a list of popular overrides in the knowledge base, gang. So if you go to hosted PBX articles and the phones and devices category, you have the overrides are categorized by device vendor. So you have some Yealink ones, you have some Grandstream ones, some Fanvilles, some Polycoms. So those are some of the more popular overrides. And you would enter those into the space that Eric's showing you.
that is correct.
And Ben, this is a really good time to bring up your question, that other question that I couldn't answer earlier, about you applying multicast paging and the customer being able to like remove that. Do you want to position that to Eric? Because he might understand it a little better than I was able to.
Oh, no, I was just saying that we can't really do much as far as like templates go after the initial. We just use the templates for the initial kind of install, and then we do
Okay.
have some of the overrides that we put in there by default, like the multicast paging.
Okay.
I think the only thing that, like, if I had a wish list, it would be to, if I just wanted to override like one button on everybody's phone, like for, so they want to add a security officer or something, that might be convenient, but it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to override one button, the fact of the matter is you need to figure out exactly what button that is. And then what you can do is you can view the configuration file and look for that button. Was it on account 2? Is that button even enabled? So on and so forth. But it will show you what you have set, and then you just have to choose which override is applicable. And one of the biggest things to remember is you see the space here and here. There cannot be any spaces when you put it in the override, and the value has to have an open quote and a closed quote before and after. That stands true with any override that you use, but this configuration will kind of give you the button layout. So, for example, line key 11, that's to Taylor. There's her extension. And this tells you what button it's on, what it's labeled, what line it's using, the type 16, which is BLF, and the extension it's supposed to go to. So this would be your override to leave button 11 alone if you reboot. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Does that help with what you were asking?
Yeah, I think, if I'm going to override a button, I may just want to, if it's not too many phones, I may just tell them to just do it individually, because it'll still show up here. The overrides don't necessarily show up on the, like the line buttons there. But
okay.
Yeah, either way, but I mean, it's a good piece of info. So,
well, if need be, whatever you're trying to program, you can always reach out to me directly, and I can see if I can help you with it.
oh yeah, thank you.
Okay.
You hear that, Ben? Not me, him.
All right. So we discussed you can modify a template that already exists. So if I wanted to modify Polycoms, I could certainly do so wherever I saw fit, and then I save, and that will save it. That's a template that can be applied to any Polycom. So you can modify that. Again, you can search by extension number or MAC address to modify a specific phone's template or button settings. Manage supported devices, that's going to take you back to the same place. You can also modify sidecars. You just have to list the model of the sidecar, and now you can build a template for it For example, a Polycom phone that has a sidecar, which I don't believe we have any.
Yeah, I don't think we have anybody who uses sidecars here, like at
Yeah, I
RingLogix.
don't think so either. X450. No, I don't think so. Okay. Are there any questions that I can answer for anyone?
Yeah, guys, you got Eric for 15 minutes. So if you have phone questions, he's your man. So is there something you've tried to do in SNAPbuilder, or did you guys feel like you have a better understanding of it after this call? Or any like weird phone question? Like, let's not get too weird, but you know what I mean? Like, there you go. Jared, I see you on mic. What you got?
Yes, I am working on a phone issue with one of our customer,
Okay.
and Eric, he factory reset his phone, and now he cannot receive calls.
He cannot receive calls. What type of device is that?
It's like a Polycom.
Do you know the specific model?
VVX
Uh,
250s.
VVX
Oh,
250. Let me see. Hold on. So one of the things that
so our question was, it was working, and I don't know why he did a factory reset. I thought maybe he was having problem, and that's why he did it. But he said it was working, so it's like, then why did you do a factory reset?
yeah, what would be the point in factory resetting a phone that's working?
I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
but
Did you
he
guys
cannot.
manually provision it? Or was it auto provisioned at the beginning?
Yeah, I don't know how they provision it. Do they auto provision their phones?
Yeah, I think we did a template for them for the VVX 250s, and he just that's what all of them have. Why he was doing this one with his particular phone, I don't know.
And his problem is he can't make outbound calls, right?
Inbound.
Or inbound. Or
Yeah.
inbound. That sounds like a routing issue. Let me
You
see
guys have
here.
a ticket in for that?
I did. I had a ticket, and then we had him. Who was I working with?
It's okay. I'll find the ticket. I'll get it. I'll have
Okay.
Eric peek at it for it's still open, right?
Yeah, it's still open. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I was like, because I was having the one of your colleagues take a look at the back end setting to see if there's anything unusual, but
Yeah, that is if it was outbound, I would say, oh, it's probably the outbound proxy that wasn't populated correctly. But for inbound, that's got to be some type of routing issue. If the phone is online registered, there's not many things that it could be. You know, did he initiate some type of do not disturb on the device itself? Or is the number still pointed at it correctly? Is it in a call queue? There's several things that it could be, but nonetheless, it's generally always some type of route issue.
okay.
Yeah, and like as far as if we're talking about like you thinking it's a hardware issue, you know, like if you factory reset a device that was manually provisioned, I could see where that would happen because it's like wiping out everything that was in the phone. But if it was
Right.
auto provisioned, it should like look if the MAC address is in there, it would like re-look for it and like
Yeah.
resync, you know. I got that.
Repopulate, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely. The only thing, like, if that's why I asked, was it did you guys, when you originally set it up, manually provision the device? Because then that would have wiped it all out of the phone, you know, UI, and you know what I mean. So, but Eric, I got that ticket over to you if you want to peek at it. I found it, so I put it in our chat for you. Not this one in the webinar, but obviously, but our internal one. So when if you happen to grab a minute and peek at it, that'd be cool.
I got it. Oh, wait a minute. Are you guys using this is an SRTP issue? So device doesn't support the requested codec or feature. So SRTP is trying to talk to a device that doesn't support it or doesn't have it on. I can fix this right now. Let's see.
You're still sharing
Is
your
that
screen now. I don't know
is
if you
that a
want to do.
setting? Is that a setting on the phone?
That is, no, this is a back end setting, and unfortunately, it is not something that you have access to. But I certainly do. So let me set this up real quick.
Well,
You might
when it
want
says
to share your screen, Eric, too.
Eric,
I'm
maybe you
sorry?
could elaborate. Like,
Mhm.
what does that codec error mean? Is it
Well, it's suggesting that, hey, I don't like the codec you're trying to talk to me on, or there's a feature that I don't like. And in this case, I'll bet you a nickel it's the feature.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when he factory reset it, it cleared up everything on the extension settings, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to drag you down with this. What I'll
No,
do
that's
is
fine.
I'll look at the ticket afterwards, and then I'll call you and we'll test together.
Okay. Well, he's a customer in a different state.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll call you right after this, and we can go through it.
Okay.
Cool, cool.
All right. Is there any other questions that I can answer for you guys?
Or was there something you thought you'd see on the SNAPbuilder call that you didn't see that you want to know about when you were in there messing around? Anybody?
One thing we could talk about is that how you have the cascading directory. You have the static and you have the dynamic ones in the SNAPbuilder when you assign the buttons. Right. So when you have the ones that are left, like if you have a whole bunch of people, you can assign it to go to the first blank button and then right click it, and you can assign it to a cascading directory, right? And it can be dynamic or static.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So one of the things that first and foremost you need to understand about that is that the difference between static and dynamic. So dynamic is indicating that, for example, I have a directory and Bob is part of that directory. He's extension 100, but last week we fired Bob, and now it's Frank at extension 100. If it's set to dynamic, that means it will update the next time the phone reaches out to the NDP and regrabs its config, so to speak. So static will not. Static is something that is more or less manually done. That will never change. You physically have to go in and touch every phone for that to happen. If that makes sense. Let's see.
So I could just something that I'll mention because I've done a lot of these recently for Alan.
Okay.
Is that if you have used the phone before, or if you change things around, that a lot of times if you use the dynamic one, you get a bunch of stuff that there isn't any way to erase. So I've had to use static, even though you're right, you would want to use dynamic because, like as you say, if Bob gets fired, you have to go in and refresh all of the static.
That's correct. That's correct. And mind you, even with dynamic, none of it really updates until those phones reach out to the NDP and discover, oh, something's changed in my config, update that name on extension 100. So in a lot of cases, it doesn't happen immediately, but it will. Static, again, is something that only happens, it's manually programmed. So if you program somebody statically and they change or they get fired or there's a name change or extension change, you have to go into each and every phone to actually manipulate or modify that change correctly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense, Ken?
Yeah, I just thought we'd talk about it because we didn't mention that, you know.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that was important.
But I say that I've seen a lot of times where the dynamic one actually doesn't work right. And even factory resetting the phones and everything.
You are correct. I've seen the same thing where dynamic does give you some wonky effects from time to time. If that is the case, one of the things that you can do with static, if that causes you issues, is actually tell it to save and resync again and then reapply static directory to that phone. So you're going to save and resync and then go back and place static directory back on that phone. And a lot of times it will resolve that issue.
Great.
I think Lee had a question too, and Lee, I unmuted you. I think. I think I did. Lee? Oh, I didn't unmute you, but I allowed you to talk. Ben, did you have something? I saw you pipe up, or were you just coughing?
Oh, no, that's just me.
All right. Anyone else? While we're waiting for Lee, got about 2 minutes left. Questions? No? Lee, you want to talk, or will you? I don't know if Lee, if you want to send that question to me, I can get it to Eric too, if you can't get the mic going or working.
Oh, guys, and one of the things to mention that I didn't bring this up, forgive me. But if you see here, you have dynamic cascade for the directory here. Again, that is going to put everything in that you have as contacts. So it's going to show everyone with the information that you have here, you know, Albert Diaz, his extension number, so on and so forth. And when you do that statically, if I did a static cascade, which I don't want to do to this phone, it's not mine, but, well, I can just cancel it. If you look at it, there's information that you are not going to be able to change. Hold on. For example, you see how it adds all of the BLFs, but lo and behold, this is grayed out. The reason it's grayed out is it's going to follow the order of whatever you have in your contacts, and it's just going to put them in there, period. So 201, 202, 204, 205, and those cannot be manipulated.
It's just going to do them in the order that the extension is. So if you don't want that, it won't allow you to change it.
That is correct. Only static allows you to change it or to put in different names and different labels as you see fit to do it. Let me cancel this before I apply anything to that phone.
Right.
Okay.
I think we got Lee.
Yes, I'm around.
That's okay.
So, okay, I got a quick question then. So,
Sure.
Like I've done the different templates, and then we inadvertently put the wrong template, like a 5400, and it should have been to like a 57, something like that. So, and then we went back to say, oh, here's the correct template to make that work correctly. But now it won't load any templates at all. So everything, each button though I can do individually to it.
But none of your templates are showing up at this point?
Well, none of the templates will load. It says you like, so it's extension, say it's extension 100, and I apply the template for that group, and everything. And what happens is it says it applies and saved, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't load up the template at all.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so that requires a ticket. We definitely have to look at that, and we can get it fixed for you, but we do require a ticket for that. Can you place one?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Yep, that would be helpful because it kind of like wipes it out. We've reset, I've deleted the phone.
So have you deleted the actual template itself?
Not the template itself, because it still works fine with the other phones that are in that department that need it. I can still update that one, but I guess I could try that. But it just doesn't work on that particular phone. I've done a factory reset on it. Doesn't work.
Have you removed the phone from the portal completely?
I've deleted it. I don't know if that removes it completely or not. So
if you deleted it, it should have, yes.
Yeah, I had to go back in. What was interesting is when I go back in, I put the MAC address in there, which it kind of recognizes, but then, and it immediately, puts on the old programming that was on that before. On that.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it wasn't deleted.
So yeah, if that's the case, then is that a Yealink phone?
It is.
So it's probably still in the RPS servers. Even though you're deleting it, it's hung in the RPS server, which we can delete.
Okay.
Do you happen to have that Mac handy?
No, I don't. I'm out on customer site. So
okay. Yeah, I can remove it for you easily. If you want to give me a call or call in and ask for me, I can remove it for you. Okay,
I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty. That'll be great. Appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Not
and
a
you
problem.
had a question from Steve, Eric, but I think Brianna hooked you up and she answered it for you. So, because Steve asked, is there a way to only use dynamic and only one location of a multi-location account? And then Brianna told him you can change the directory source to the department you want and then just apply that directory to that location template. So I think she hooked you up. So thanks, Brianna. All right, gang. Well, we're out of time today, but as you guys know, Eric is available. Put a ticket in, give him a call if you have any questions or if you need need me to get anything over to you. We'll get you the video and the presentation in a few days to your email. So I appreciate everyone for joining and thank you. Thanks, Eric.
You're very welcome. Not a problem.
Thank you.
All right, gang. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.